Welcome to Marvin Garden, July 2018. It's a perfectly lovely evening here in the garden, and we got music going and a French ballerina dancing over there. All the pups are out here, and we got a little fire going in the fire pit, and we're going to commence this garden tour. I'm going to start by looking at the fire pit. That's Jessie down there, and Jolie lounging in the chair, and right back here is Mr. Franklin getting into something, and my biggest fan, Vanina, the French ballerina, dancing along to my music. But we'll start where we normally start, which is might be a little hard to see, but down there someplace are some chives. This is chives. These are chives. There's also some grass growing up, so I do need to do some weeding. But then this also has become a little bit of an herb garden, because we got some flat parsley here and some curled parsley right over here, and it's doing, oh, look at this one, this is a nice clump here of curled parsley. And then that brings us to no man's land, which is where I plant my leftover seedlings, and if you look down in there you can see that is probably a damsel tomato, because it looks a little pinkish, and that's a pink fleshed tomato. And more tomatoes here because I had lots of extra tomato seedlings. But what's interesting is that there's no fence there anymore, because we have finally completed the new post and rail fencing, including a gate right out here in the front, to redefine and expand the perimeter of the west side of the garden. And I'm really happy that it's done. There's some of the old wire fencing, and you can kind of see the line here where the old fencing used to be, that I jogged out a little bit to make room for the solar panels, which of course are here and cranking, by the way. But anyway, the posts and rail with the keep the dogs in, keep the rabbits out, wire fencing underneath, it's all done. Just completed as of yesterday, by the way. In fact, you can see that the orange marks are still on the ground where I laid everything out. And I think I have some drone footage before I actually did this, but I'm just super thrilled with having this all completed now. And I think it turned out really well, and I do say so myself. And a lot of work getting out the old fencing, more work than I thought. But everything's done now. So let's go back to bed number one. Now, this is the kind of the pet memorial area, and I'm gonna basically move that back to that corner there, because this isn't a corner anymore. And also these tiger lilies, I'm probably going to try to move those as much as I can too. But anyway, here's bed number one, and these last two rows out here are purple haze scallions, which we've been harvesting right along. The rest of them are about ready to be pulled. And then we've got a row of touchstone gold beets, and they are pretty much ready to go also. looking just fine. Now, this next row is romaine lettuce, just a couple of heads, but you can see that they're kind of bolting, which means they're when they sprout up like this, they're at the end of their edible life stage. They should still be okay now, but I need to pull them because if they get much further along, they will be bitter. And that's the same with these bib lettuce, the new hams. So that's where that's at. This is a row of freshly planted spinach, and I added some sulfur to that row and to another row, which I'll show in a second, in hopes that it was basically pH that was giving me the problems with spinach before. We'll see. This is a row of Hercules carrots, and we thinned quite a few of them. Oh, and I will probably be intercutting not only drone footage, but harvest basket footage of all kinds of things, and but I don't know when or where, so just be advised of that. But anyway, these are Hercules. They're looking great. We've pulled quite a few, just thinning them, and those are almost ready to come out. And these here are called Yaya, and some of them are small, like this one right down here. Some of them look like they're about ready, like that one right there. But they're doing very well, and so we're going to have a good carrot year. That brings us to another planting of radishes, and it's kind of hard to tell what these guys are doing because they're not really bulbing very well, but it might just be early for them. And then the other row of spinach that I was talking about, these have been thinned. So far they look okay. We'll see what happens as they carry on. The next two rows here are blank right now, including where Franklin is sure he's found some varmint down here. And as long as he's not digging up vegetables, I don't give him too much trouble for smoking them up. But anyway, these two rows I'm just about to plant with some new brassicas, which I will show you in a minute because they're in the greenhouse. And this is the row of broccoli, and I don't know if you can see down there a little side shoot of broccoli coming up. All the main shoots have been harvested, but now we're getting side shoots, and in fact I just harvested a nice sized head that was a side shoot, and hopefully we'll get some more of those. And then that brings us back to the beginning of this bed, and these magnificent cabbage plants and cabbage heads just look great. I'm just about to spray them again with some bacillus, which is an organic biological caterpillar deterrent, but they are just looking fine. The brassicas have done really well in this bed, so that's very nice. And this is doing pretty well. He's kind of excited to be around. He only eats soft milk bones anymore, but that's okay, as long as she's eating. So here we are back coming around the solar panels, and I will say for the solar panels, aka harvesting sunshine, we are very close to the point where, since the panels were installed, we actually have produced more electricity and sent it to JCP&L than we have consumed from JCP&L, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, here we are. This entire bed is onions, and this is an interesting view because you can see this section is mostly Patterson onions, and you can see how they're all sort of fallen down, and that's good. That means they are ready to be pulled. But if you go one section over here to the I believe this is red wing. Yes, red wing, red onions, and they are not falling over, which means that they are not ready to be harvested. Because that's how you tell whether an onion is ready to be harvested or not. And what we really have here that's fun is candy onions. Now, you can see, maybe you can see the perspective of my hand, the size of my hand and the size of this onion. This onion is 3 inches across at least, and there's several of them that are that big, like this one right here, and they're just gorgeous. Now they're also just starting to fall over, and this is one of the reasons that I wanted to shoot the July video now, which we're really smack dab in the middle of July, is that once these guys are harvested, that'll leave quite a few vacancies that may not be filled. So this is kind of a peak time in the garden, as I call it, the high holy days of gardening. But just look at the size of this guy. I don't know if you can really tell, but that's just a fantastic onion. So let's move back here to another bed here. Oh, look at the basket that Nina's got going here. We'll take a look at that. Look at these peppers. These guys. This is King Arthur. This is. Is this one of the ones that you said was the big? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's also King Arthur. Then this is a giant Marconi. And then we've got lots of tomatoes coming in too. This is one of those damsels, which is the pink flesh. Oops, I haven't got a very good shot. There we go. Pink flesh, very fine eating. And then we've got two kinds of small onions. This is tomatoes. This is Valentine, and these slightly larger ones are our favorite, which is Juliet, and they're all coming in like crazy. There's some Carmen peppers there, which will turn bright red if we let them stay on the vine long enough. This is the row of King Arthur's, and you can see nice big blocky peppers. And I think I actually had them mislabeled last time around, because these are the giant Marconis, which are also an elongated pepper, but they're pretty wide and blocky as well, so they're doing quite well. And then the tomatoes, it's hard to really see all of them there. These are Balsano, which are a good size tomato and a red tomato. Next over here are the Valentines, which are a grape tomato, and they're coming in very well. Damsel is the pink tomato that I mentioned, and if you look down here, you can see one that's kind of turning pink. They are also delicious. And these are Juliets, which is, again, you're probably tired of hearing that this is our favorite tomato for many reasons, not the least of which is how prolific they are. So let's go on to the next bed, and we have determined that these, we weren't sure whether these were artichokes or cardoon, and I believe we have determined that they are in fact cardoon, because those do not look like artichokes, and they resemble the see if I can get a shot of it, the cardoons as they look in the catalog. But the good news is that we are now getting lots of stalks coming up with these buds on them, and with the cardoon, the buds themselves are not harvested. It's the stalks up beneath that are blanched and then harvested. But like I say, the good news is that we've got a bunch of them coming up now, so that's really good news. These are one of Frankie's favorites, the ground cherries. Goldie, I think these are called. He's been in here and gotten a few, and when the gardeners come through here, we always like to find these ones that have the yellow husks, which means they're ready. And then we just pop this little guy out of here and gardener's treat. Okay, that brings us to another row of peppers. These look like they're the non-heat jalapenos, and we just pulled a bunch of eggplants, which kind of look like this, except for they were much bigger, and grilled them, and Vanina's going to make grilled eggplant parmesan, and it's going to be delicious, I can tell already. So the rest of these are peppers. Those are more of the jalapenos that do not have any heat, as are these. And I think I pulled some big King Arthur peppers off in here too. This here is bee balm, which if you remember from last time, I just planted kind of on a whim. I was kind of expecting it to bloom profusely, but it hasn't done anything yet. Oh, look at these. Tomatoes are about to just explode all over the place. Alright, so she's been adding to the basket here. And as you can see, there's lots of scallop squash that have been added to the basket. These guys have been going gangbusters, and it's funny, they kind of go through phases, you know, like we'll get them every day for a while, and then they'll skip a few days. And in here we've got, and I don't know if I have a good one to show you. It's a yellow zucchini, it's called Goldie. Let's see if I can get this one. Pardon my camera work. There you go. You can kind of see that guy down there. They are the least of the three as far as prolific goes. Zucchini have been going like crazy. That's a scallop squash that we missed. Wait a minute, let me just get it. Not really supposed to let them get that big, but it'll be fun. Anyway, back to the zucchinis. They've been coming in like crazy. And like I said last time, I think I kind of planted these a little more densely than I should have, because harvesting them isn't easy, nor is getting a video of them. But they're around here, believe me. Anyway, there's a very young one down there. Behind that beam, you can see. But we've had lots of zucchini coming in. This is candle fire okra. which has been very steadily coming in. I only have one row of them. We've mostly been having them in salads, but I also put them in a stir fry. And then next over here is bush lima beans. You can see that they are starting to come in as well, nicely. And we planted a lot of them because with lima beans in the past, the main problem is just getting yields. You get them to grow okay, but you just don't get that much of it. So these are all bush limas, the Ford Hook, was it 424 or 242? I can't remember which. Well, wait a minute, I have a tag down here. Let's just see, shall we? 242, Ford Hook 242. And then I've got pole limas as well, which is what all this is. And as you can see, if I can get the camera in there, we do have lots of pods coming in, lots of blooms. But these guys don't get yanked until the beans swell up significantly and they start to turn yellowish, brownish. But I'm at least encouraged because they seem to be doing pretty well. And that brings us to, again, a nice perimeter that has been defined by my post and rail. Okay, on to, now here's another example of these pond irises used to be in the corner of the garden. So I'm going to have to take them and move them over there to a corner of the garden. But there's time to do that. In the meanwhile, you may notice that we have lots and lots of these oblong yellow fruits in there, and those are all winter squash, aka spaghetti squash, which we're trying. I think I might have tried to grow them once before, didn't have much luck, but they seem to be doing pretty well right now. Now the other winter squash that we're growing are these naked bare pumpkins, and as you can see, that one's starting to turn orange already. And there's another one around here that's younger and still pretty green. And these pumpkins are grown not for the flesh or pie making or pumpkin carving, but for the seeds, because they produce virtually hulless seeds that can be eaten raw or toasted. So that's what we're aiming for, and those are the only two varieties of winter squash that we're growing this year. Now let's go out this magnificent gate, if I do say so myself, and take a quick look at the corn patch. And as you can see, well, you might not be able to tell exactly, but it's all the corn is well over 6 feet tall. This corn right here on this end is mini popcorn, multicolored popcorn, and you might be able to see that the tassels are already coming in, and this midsection here is a blue corn, a blue dry corn, meaning that it's not eaten as a sweet corn, but as a, you either make cornmeal out of it or use it as an ornamental. And you can see that the silks and the ears are already forming. And then this final section is multicolored corn, or Indian corn. Again, it can be used as ornamental corn, or it can be ground down into cornmeal. but it's not designed to be eaten as sweet corn. And it's coming in a little bit spotty. You know, some are very small stalks, some are tall. We had quite a few gaps in all the corn, and then interesting with this the popcorn. I don't know if you can see in there, but some of them, which originally were single plants, have grown multiple stalks. Like that one right there that we're looking at has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stalks, and that does not seem to be uncommon with the with this mini popcorn. So we'll see how it goes. The nice thing about growing dry corn is that you don't have to do anything with it until the end of the season. So it's not like harvesting it. The harvesting time is critical, like with sweet corn. You've got to get that right at the right spot. But the dry corn, we just let it go as long as it goes, and then harvest it at the very end. There's not much else to show you. There's nothing to show you on the apple tree, which is off to my right there. Hi, Jessie. Hi, Jessie. My camera work is terrible. Oh, you're asking, what is that t-shirt you're wearing, Marv? Well, this is the Black Potato Music Festival, and yes, potato is intentionally misspelled. It's been here very locally, up in Clinton, which is about 10 minutes away. This year, I participated as a performer for the very first time, and that was kind of fun. I had never even attended it before, but we had a good time at the Black Potato Music Festival, right? Wonderful. And it was fun to perform. Played Deborah Lee as my original song, and played with Helen O'Shea and the Shanakees, did a few of her originals and some covers. And as you can see now, the sun is setting in the distant sky. All right, now I can show you Jessie, who's been following me around. Hey, Jessie, we got more treats for you later. And I'm just going to walk over to the fruit trees and maybe take a glance at the pond. You see the lights in the archway have already come on because it's getting kind of dark. The pups are, I think I fed the fish already. So anyway, let's do the fruit trees first. This is the peach tree, which looks pretty healthy. Very few peaches on it though. There's one right there. Maybe 1 or 2 more back here hiding around. But at least the tree itself looks pretty good. And then past the hammock here is the nectarine tree. And nectarines, there are more nectarines on this tree than there are peaches on the peach tree. But it still remains to be seen how many will end up here at the end of the season. But this is literally the second year I've had these trees here, so it's still pretty early for them to be producing. Meanwhile, the pear tree seems to be doing just fine, which, like I mentioned last time, I was a little surprised because it yielded so many pears last year that I wasn't expecting it to do anything this year, because fruit trees generally seem to go off and on have off years and on years, etc. But so far this guy is looking pretty good, so we'll see what happens. We did get the pool set up since the last time. We got lots of sunflowers blooming that Vanina planted off the deck. And generally everything is exploding with greenery and color. Not the least of which is the pond. Got lots of water hyacinths, the umbrella plant. There's a big old koi cruising. Another one that's under there trying to eat some water hyacinths. And this down here is another calla lily is coming in. I'm pretty sure because of its light color. And the fish, I guess I did not feed the fish because they're looking awfully hungry. So Frankie hopes I will feed the fish, as do the fish. So that's probably what I'm going to do next. That's another nice collection of water hyacinths up there in the top of the waterfall. And I got a whole tub full of them over here too. They've been doing quite well this year. But I think that pretty much does it for Marvin Garden. July 2018. I don't think I missed anything. We got kind of a smoky fire going in the fire pit. And I didn't show you these water features here. Water lilies. I know we've got frogs in there because I can. Every time I walk by, I see them jumping around, trying to get out of the way. These lilies are doing pretty well. These guys are actually going to seed. You could save those and try to plant them. Got some more water hyacinths down here, and everything is looking pretty well except for the fire needs some attention. Oh, let me show you one thing here in the greenhouse. I'm so happy with this greenhouse, even though it was a nightmare to put together due to the quality control of the manufacturing company. But you can see here we got plants, which means I'm actually using the greenhouse for what a greenhouse is used for. These are the next planting of brassicas. So I've got cauliflower, broccoli, and cabbage. You won't have to come up with that. I've built a couple of benches to go in here. And I actually used prefabbed deck railing is what this is at Lowe's, and then I just attach them to 4x4 legs and 1x4 braces, and then add some 1/4-inch galvanized screening, and they make really nicely functional and inexpensive benches. So I think that's going to do it for Marvin Garden July 2018. I think we got everything covered. Vanina's been continuing to build on this harvest basket, which is looking like lots of good stuff. And we've been blanching and freezing vegetables, eating lots of salads, and also I made a big stir fry this afternoon. And like I said, Vanina's going to make a grilled eggplant parmesan, and And we're in high hopes that these cardoons are going to turn out to be something of note as well. So that's going to do it for us. Marvin Gardens, July 2018. And even Jesse says, happy gardening, everybody, and have a good summer. We'll see you next month in August. Bye, y'all.